Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phil's Place. I'm actually going to be talking about things to do for those of you who are going to be coming in from out of town, or even for those of you who are local who will be going to the NFL draft. The dates of the draft are Thursday, April 23rd, Friday, April 24th, and Saturday, April 25th. There will be an estimated number of 500,000 people total who are expected to come into downtown for the draft. So my purpose for this episode actually is to promote some of the museums that we have in this city. It's something I've not really talked about much on this podcast, but these are museums that I find to be extremely interesting, great history, very, very meaningful. And I know that you'll have nothing but great takeaways when you visit each of these four museums I am going to talk about. Okay, first and foremost, let's get into two museums that are located at Point State Park. And I bring these two up because there will be a lot of activity at Point State Park, which is just across the river from Acrisure Stadium, which is like the official site of the NFL draft. First and foremost, the Fort Pitt Museum, which is part of the Heinz History Center. Okay. So for those of you who are not very familiar with the history of Pittsburgh, all of Western Pennsylvania, like many locations throughout the U.S. and Canada, saw its share of battles during the French and Indian War. And, I love history and I know a little bit about the history, but I'm not going to dig deep into the actual history of the French and Indian War. But just know that this war occurred in the early to mid 1700s. Okay. For those of you that want to fact check, if I'm wrong on the dates, please let me know. But all that said, there are two museums actually at Point State Park. First and foremost, you have the Fort Pitt Museum, which was an actual fort right at the triangle, the base of the triangle at the confluence of the three rivers. Okay. The Fort Pitt Museum actually has special hours. And during the NFL draft, it says here that April 24th, which is Friday, the museum will be open from noon to 5 p.m. And on April 20th, the museum will be open again, actually 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, the museum is located right at Point State Park. You can't miss it. It is part of the Heinz History Center, which I will be talking about here shortly. Okay. Now, right around the corner from the Fort Pitt Museum at Point State Park is the Fort Pitt Blockhouse. Okay. And this is a very, very unique museum. It's small, but it's worth the visit. The Blockhouse holds a lot of history. It gets a lot of visitors from all over the world who come into Pittsburgh for conferences, to visit family. As you know, a lot of people come in to attend Steelers games, Pirate games, and Penguin games, or even rock concerts, whatever the case is, visiting family. But the Fort Pitt Blockhouse does a great job of depicting the history within the Blockhouse, and it has a great Facebook account. Okay. I highly recommend that you go to its Facebook account. You just type it in a Google search or just type it in on the Facebook search. And what I like about what they do is, number one, they showcase the people who visited, where they're from. By permission, they take pictures of the visitors, and they're coming from all over the world. It's great. And it's great to see this type of tourism taking place in Pittsburgh. And by the way, I want to give a special plug to Visit Pittsburgh, because they do a wonderful job of promoting business, tourism, throughout the city of Pittsburgh. So, okay. So that's two museums down, the Fort Pitt Museum and also the Fort Pitt Blockhouse, both located at Point State Park, which is going to be a hot spot for the NFL draft. Okay. Next, I want to talk about the Heinz History Center. This is a very, very, very special museum that holds just all the history you can think about in the city of Pittsburgh. Okay. It's located up in the Strip District, which is when you're in downtown and you're on Liberty Avenue or Penn Avenue, you take those roads outside of the city and that leads you right into the Strip District. Okay. And you will see everything from Fred Rogers' studio, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, to Franco Harris, the Immaculate Reception, special history about, the sports teams, Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, and everything else that you can imagine that, is just everything that's Pittsburgh and then some. So I highly recommend that you visit the Heinz History Center. And just so you are aware, the Franco Harris Sports Museum will be open. That portion of the museum will be open at 10 a.m. on Thursday, April 23rd. It's also going to be open on Friday, April 24th at 10 a.m. And then you will be able to see all of the other relics and all of the other special details of everything history that's in Pittsburgh. Okay. So I highly recommend it. Definitely give it a visit. Last but not least, and this is very, very near and dear to my heart, the Roberto Clemente Museum. It is also located in the Strip District, but pretty much on your way into Bloomfield and Lawrenceville. It's everything Roberto Clemente. And I was born the youngest of 11 children, born in 1970. And all of my siblings, my parents, our neighbors in Thornburg, everybody, my relatives, all basically told stories to me as a little kid about Roberto Clemente. Everything from what a great athlete he was, the cannon of an arm that he had playing right field, his clutch hitting, awards that he won as a player, and of course, and most tragic and unfortunate, when he passed away and how he passed away. And that was a humanitarian effort where he collected a lot of food and non-perishable items, clothing, and packed everything into an airplane that should not have been flown. The airplane took off from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and was to take all these goods down to Nicaragua, where they suffered a really bad earthquake. And his plane took off on December 31st, 1972. And unfortunately, it crashed. And from what I understand, his body still has not been found to this day. It was a tough day, a tough era for all baseball fans, specifically here in Pittsburgh. As you can see, I'm wearing my early 1970s Pittsburgh Pirates hat, which they unveiled along with his jersey. I have the away jersey. It's actually a Clemente jersey. On July 16th, 1970, when Three River Stadium opened, the first game at Three River Stadium, which was played against the Cincinnati Reds. Ironically, Cincinnati had just opened Riverfront Stadium that same year, which was the boost of the cookie cutter stadiums. So I'm digressing. But anyway, please, please go and visit the Roberto Clemente Museum. And just so you know, on Thursday, April 23rd, they're having an open house from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tickets run from $12 to $21. And I am announcing this as of 12:52 p.m. on Wednesday, April 22nd. There are still 54 tickets left. On Friday, April 24th, there's an open house from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Again, tickets are running from $12 to $21 with 47 tickets left. On Saturday, the museum will be open with another open house from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Same ticket prices and with 70 tickets left. And then on Sunday, for those of you who are still in town, there is one last open house from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And there are 70 tickets left. So let me verify here the number of tickets that are left for the open house. On Thursday, 54 tickets. Friday, 47 tickets. Saturday, 50 tickets. Sunday, 70 tickets. And then you get into guided tours on the week of the 27th next week, which all run at $21 a piece. So you will learn everything about Roberto Clemente, his legacy, his childhood, the bats that he used that in baseball games, his uniforms. Oh, and by the way, they have a wine cellar. You can buy wine, specially made wine at the Roberto Clemente Museum. And for those of you who are fans of the band Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder, lead singer of Pearl Jam. Number one, he highly endorsed the Roberto Clemente Museum during the pandemic. It ran into a financial issue, and he actually held a fundraiser to keep the Roberto Clemente Museum alive and up and running. No pun on the word alive, because that is their first song they released from their debut album. You know, when you get somebody like Eddie Vedder, who is one of the most famous musicians on this planet, and he has a place in his heart for Roberto Clemente, for the game of baseball, and for the Roberto Clemente Museum, that says a lot. So please, during time that you are looking for things to do, give the Roberto Clemente Museum a visit. Okay. And as far as websites are concerned, we'll start with the Roberto Clemente Museum. You can find the website at clementemuseum.com. Obviously, Google searches, you know what to do. The Heinz History Center, the website is heinzhistorycenter.org, and you will get information on the Fort Pitt Museum, the Heinz History Center. You can buy tickets on these websites. You can donate. You can join. You know, I highly recommend doing all of these things. Okay. And then the Fort Pitt Blockhouse, it's simple. It's fortpittblockhouse.com. And you get a nice elaborate history lesson on the website. They actually feature school field trips. You can support the Blockhouse. There's information about the Fort Pitt Society, obviously history about the museum, and then just something I want to say too about this museum. It is actually run by, and just give me a couple seconds here. Donate now, the Fort Pitt Society, and it is the Fort Pitt Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution. It's an all-female organization, volunteer organization, that owns and operates the Fort Pitt Blockhouse. It was honored as one of 47 local recipients of the Jefferson Awards at a reception held in the old Heinz Field. No, it's not the old Heinz Field, but formerly named Heinz Field, back on May 6, 2014. And each recipient received a 2-inch bronze Jefferson Award medallion commissioned by the Franklin Mint. Oh, this is big. This is huge. You know, so the Fort Pitt Blockhouse is a big deal. Please, please give all 4 of these museums a special look. Not to mention the Carnegie museums. Those are great as well. Pittsburgh really is a hotbed for history, innovation, technology, our health network system, our hospital system. We're not just a great sports town. We are a driver. We are a very, very important city here in the United States and throughout the world. I talk about innovation. AI is becoming to be very big here through Carnegie Mellon University, and I'm sure the University of Pittsburgh, Duquesne University, Point Park, etc., you know, is playing a big role with artificial intelligence now. But research and technology and research and development, this is huge here. We have Google has a huge office here in Pittsburgh. Duolingo Pittsburgh headquarters are located up in East Liberty, Bakery Square. We've got top shelf universities here in Pittsburgh. And as I mentioned before, we have a great hospital system, 2 great hospital systems, UPMC and Allegheny Health Network. It's a great place to live. We've got a lot of great school districts, private schools here in Allegheny County and throughout Western Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh International Airport just actually opened a brand new terminal back in November, and it's running flawlessly. No more train to get to the gates. You can just walk right in, check your bags, and then it's a direct route right to the gates. And then coming back, there's very little time you have to spend getting your luggage. By the time you get the baggage claim, your luggage is going to be ready for you. It's swift, it's fully operational, and are doing a great job. And it's also beautiful. So what have I missed about the city of Pittsburgh, our museums, what Pittsburgh is about today in the 21st century, and just how great this city is doing? I cannot say enough about my hometown, the city of Pittsburgh. So anyway, I hope that you give this a watch. I will be putting out reels and stories and shorts based on this episode. Thank you for your watch. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to Pittsburgh. I hope that all of you enjoy the draft, and I hope that all of you are happy with the selections for the teams that you root for. Okay. All right. One more thing. 2 restaurants I recommend in downtown, Olive or Twist, and also Barcelona Wine Bar. We have numerous great restaurants all throughout the area. And I'm going to be very partial to Robinson Township and Moon Township, which is where I have lived the vast majority of my life. In Moon Township, we've got Jenny Lee, Breakfast Nook. We've got Eggs and That. We've got a Primanti's location. Robert Morris University sits in Moon Township. We have a lot of nice newer hotels that sit on University Boulevard. So if these hotels still have availability and you're scrambling for a place to stay, I definitely recommend Moon Township. And the Moon Township Flyer, which is over by Sheets on University Boulevard, will be providing transportation, and I understand it's free transportation into the city for the draft. So that's and then Robinson Township, where I went to high school, Montour High School, where Michael Keaton went to high school. There's numerous great places to eat there. I recommend Star Grille and Central Diner. So, okay, I'm cutting myself off. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great day, and I hope that you have a great time in Pittsburgh. Thank you. Bye-bye.